Yeah, morning folks. Quick one for you here. We're in a pound Swiss long at the moment. We are out of pound Aussie, pound New Zealand, pound Euro Aussie, Euro New Zealand, etc. We will be re-entering those. The Those trades I've closed because I wanted the profits. They will be reflected on the next statement. It was easy actually to get into this last night. We already knew that Aussie and New Zealand were underlying weak. At this time, okay, what we could do, where was it? Here. During this time, I was watching here and I just drew out two lines and monitored them. At this point, pound was up here and it's also above both of the levels. Aussie was down here and also below both of the levels. In the case of Aussie index and pound index, we see that those two time levels there were here. Pound is showing us it's not holding low as Aussie is here. You see, it holds low relative to the other ones at that time. So the only other one doing this at this time was New Zealand, and it's below its two levels in Aussie index and yen index. What this is doing here by holding low, that is actually showing you the Aussie versus all the other currencies without having to look at the individual Aussie index and the pound versus Aussie and the Aussie versus yen and all of that stuff. This will tell you that it's lower or higher relative to the other ones at that time. But to confirm this, you do have to put in 2 time slots to confirm it, because it may be in another cycle within a cycle. So that's all you have to do to just verify it. Put it on both of them and you'll see. So this was, Aussie was only ever a sell last night, and also given the fact that New Zealand is doing the same, we do not ever want to fight that, because we recognise the fact that Aussie and New Zealand are tied together and they're competing currencies. So New Zealand is low, there's the 2 time slots. New Zealand is low and it's below the 2 levels. So New Zealand is showing us the same exact thing here. And the same thing here. It's holding low and we're below the level. So it was a sell only after this massive false yen move down to then up. And what we were looking for was a yen chop day in order to allow, or down day in order to allow pound Aussie, pound New Zealand to go up. That was always the plan. Nothing has ever changed within that plan. We were just waiting for the opportunity for that to come back to us, really. The other, and we'll just take dollar for instance at that time, just to show you what I'm talking about. There's the 2 time slots here. Can't really see this very well, Um, but you can see there the price is above the level. Um, Aussie dollar has never held low like in this type of fashion here, right? It's just, and it was high, holding high previous to this. So relative to this, Aussie dollar is clearly stronger than Aussie. Um, then if we look at the dollar index, just to verify this, here we are. We'll do it this way. Dollar is above the level, and showing us price holding low at that point. But it's different to this, and it's not as radical as the Aussie and the New Zealand. So we would assume that this is a move down, yes, but it's not as dramatic in terms of points. And we've got to remember that they are telling us where they're going when all the currencies are going in one. When one currency is going against everything in one direction. Then, if its competing currency is matching that or following it, then we know it's game over for them. So here is the pound Swiss. This is obvious. We'll do it in the same exact fashion, recognizing right away that LFX is down, and Swiss likes to tie itself to LFX, so it could be a down day for Swiss. So we'll look at that. Just bring that over here. Swiss is here. Okay. And we'll just look at a quick glance of this, just a scan, and this is the best way to do it if you want to find a trade fast. Come here, look, bang, Swiss is super low relative to everything else. Yeah, Euro's low, but it's not as showing as the conviction that Swiss is. So this is telling us Swiss may be at this time weaker than everything else. Aussie is clearly lower than both of its levels. Do we have all these lines on there? I don't want to spend too much time doing this anymore. These are new, these ones. I'll show you how we do in the Swiss. Okay. These two levels, Aussie's below it. These two levels, New Zealand's above the second one, at that one. So currently, Aussie and New Zealand are showing us a little bit of chop to weakness. CAD is up above those levels. Yen is LFX is above those two levels. Pound is more above those two levels. And Swiss is below the levels. So this is confirming this. But let's pull the index up to clarify that this is correct. 1, 2, price is below the level with this. So, and now we're seeing 100 sells locally. So we're anticipating these numbers to drop now. Not sure for how long. I don't know if this is going to be a major trend. But if pound Aussie and New Zealand and Euro Aussie, Euro New Zealand continue higher, they're going to eventually force that yen move down, which will then help us with the Swiss. LFX move down, right? Next, so we can see the only one here is the Swiss currently. If we were to be a 1 minute day trader and want to get in with a good entry and make money now, this would be the one to go with. And pound is obviously strong. Its last numbers were here, high. Swiss's last numbers were high too. However, when we are confused in this situation, that's quite all right, because what we do is we just measure the move. Okay, it's simple. Up the high to the very low is 125 points. The high to the very low here is 209 points. So there to there, there to there. Confirm that again. Oh, sorry. 233. 228. However, Swiss is still lower than pound because you've got to take into account this move, and the Swiss doesn't quite move as many points. You can see with your eyes that pound is stronger than Swiss. You can just see it's higher. And then we'll just pull the index into that move. Oops. To that. Where are we here? We can see that pound is stronger. It's clear. So at this point, all the time we knew, but here we wouldn't have been buying pound Swiss, right? Because it was only telling us up, and pound was only telling us up. So we wouldn't have been looking at pound Swiss to buy. But yeah, that's the video. Now we're seeing 100 buys, so I wouldn't be fighting the pound. It's how it works. They try to scare you out. You get in at the beginning, and they always try to scare you out with a giant pullback, making you think it's going down, but it's not. It's just an illusion. Trust the homework, trust the numbers, and everything will be fine, folks. But peace. I will do another video.